Good morning. So I'm here today to talk to you about my experience in the Bergen County Jail drug rehab program. For almost 7 years, I have attended dinners around the holidays with other West Siders. During those dinners, we share a meal with the men or women of the DRC, conversation, and a devotional. Separate from the dinners, I also facilitate a parenting discussion group with just the men of the drug rehab program. Once a week, for 6 weeks, 3 times a year, I come to the jail to discuss topics related to parenting. We talk about separation anxiety, adolescent angst, bullying, and loss. We talk to our kids about the anxiety-producing topics like sex, drugs, and alcohol, to the everyday battles over screen time, bedtime, and getting that 9-year-old boy to shower, to the philosophical, what does it mean to be a good parent? During the shared dinners, I often find myself laughing while talking with my other dinner mates over Thanksgiving dinners, over Thanksgiving traditions, turkey's gone wrong, or pie, apple, or pumpkin. It's in these moments that I sometimes forget where we are, and I connect with the men in a very human and humble space. It occurs to me how similar we really are to one another. I find myself after the dinners or the parenting session thinking about the experiences of my own life. I'm not so different from some of the men I encounter. Many have shared a bit about their lives and backgrounds. Many of the men and women in the DRC are from Bergen County. They're business owners, teachers, pharmacists, lawyers. I've met artists, poets, musicians, car aficionados, and foodies. Many with deep spiritual beliefs. So how did they end up in jail, struggling with the challenges of addiction and incarceration, and I end up here speaking to you about them from the front of the church? Often I leave the DRC wondering about the times in my life when I felt so low or faced challenges that seemed so extreme that I wasn't sure how I might see my way out. Have you ever found yourself at a crossroads and made a bad choice? Or maybe there weren't any good choices to be made. A debilitating diagnosis, one huge bill, or many that piled up, struggles in school, a fire that burned your church down. Whether it was one thing or many, it feels like you can't breathe, make a decision, or ask for help. In those dark moments, I wonder, did I reach out, or did someone reach for me? A simple expression of empathy and compassion recognizes another person's humanness by listening with our full body and soul without judgment and without wanting anything in return. When have you ever received such grace? When have you offered it? Can it be as simple as a shared meal, discovering a mutual love of historical fiction, or an icebreaker activity that asks, in the movie about you, who would play you? Last week, the conversation with the men took a very spiritual turn. They shared about being Christ-like, using the phrase walking the walk. What we at Westside have often referred to as being little Christ. We talked about making meaning of the challenges and struggles in our lives. During this conversation, mostly led by the men in the group, they thought that Jesus didn't always have it easy, that along the way there were those who he shined a light for and times when the light was shown to him. The men talk about their experience in the DRC as both an opportunity to offer grace and to receive grace. I would say the same of my experience with them as well. Maybe you find yourself needing grace or wanting to share grace. Either way, I invite you to consider joining us for dinner at the Bergen County Jail Drug Rehab Center. Our next meal will be to celebrate Thanksgiving and all that God has given us on November 23rd. If you are interested, you can find me or Beverly Cassidy and others in the narthex after church to find out more about how you can participate in the jail ministry. Thank you.